Good morning, everyone. Today we have a guest. Let us all welcome Mr. Douglas.
Hi, good morning.
Sir Douglas, what is the universal healthcare and what does it do?
Universal healthcare means that all people have equal access to medical care. Every man, woman, and child can see a doctor and receive healthcare paid for by the government, no matter where they live in the country and no matter how much money they have. In fact, the Trudeau government brought in the 1984 Canada Health Act. This law requires that all comprehensive meaning meeting all medical needs, portable meaning applicable anywhere in Canada, and accessible meaning available to all.
How did you come to think of this idea? Free healthcare for everybody.
When I was a child, I suffered from osteomyelitis, a bone infection that was destroying my leg. My parents couldn't afford to take me to the hospital, so a local doctor just operated on my leg on the kitchen table. That was a pretty terrifying experience for a child. We then moved to Canada. My leg became worse and my parents still couldn't afford another operation. That was when a surgeon offered to perform the surgery for me. This was a very life-changing experience for me because who would do that for someone who they don't even know, right?
What made you join politics?
I was a young Baptist minister and I watched the government stand by as prairie families suffered from drought, grasshopper plagues, and low wages. I saw people suffer and die because they could not afford health care. That was when I decided to enter the politics to become a socialist to dedicate my whole life to social justice. I also decided that if the government would not help the people, then the people should change the government.
How did you feel when everyone was against your idea of a free healthcare and you were the only one all for it?
To be honest, at first I felt my self-esteem drop a bit, and sad I guess. I felt sad as well because no one really believed in me. Many even thought that would make the province bankrupt. But as time passed and the idea of having a free healthcare had become successful, I started to gain people's trust and everyone liking the idea of free healthcare. In fact, after 2 years, the CCF government had actually reduced the provincial debt by $20 million.
What could you do to change the healthcare system?
It was in those days I made up my mind that if ever I had the power, I would, if it were humanly possible, see that the financial barrier between those who needed health services and those who gave health services was forever removed.
What inspired you to make the universe of free healthcare and how did you start planning?
Many people had inspired me to make the universe a free healthcare. I see people who suffers illness and I came to think that I should make their lives easier and to make a free universal healthcare. When I planned to make a free universal healthcare, people think I couldn't do it. I didn't really care on what they were saying about me and I only cared about my potentials. It was a challenging part for me about getting started of it, especially how I plan about the different types of healthcare that will be helpful for people.
What were the changes that you included in your plan?
First of all, I thought about a lot of things that I could do to change the people's life if by any chance I can help them with their needs. I included free healthcare for the pensioners, free psychiatric hospital treatment for the mentally ill, as well as the construction of mental health clinics. The most important in the hospital and how they can pay the treatments they needed. So I decided to make it easier for them and included free cancer treatment for the cancer patients, and it will make a big difference in a person's life, and I think it will create a big impact in the world.
How do you feel that you are the father of Medicare and how does it make you a good person?
I feel honored and blessed that I am the father of Medicare. I didn't expect that I would become successful on my plans until I did what I had think of and what I can do to help people on their needs. I've came through many obstacles in my life, and that made me a good person because all the hardships I've been through, I became stronger and that I can define myself on what people say of me. One of the reasons why I wanted to try to make the universal a free medical health care was because of my parents when they couldn't afford to pay hospital bills for my bone infection that was destroying my legs. I did this because I don't want people suffering, especially when their parents tries their best to do anything to make their son, daughter feel better.
What is the Canada Pension Plan?
Canada Pension Plan was proposed by the federal government to ensure that retired Canadians had additional income, because by the mid-1960s, federal old age pensions were not keeping Canadians over 65 out of poverty. This plan requires working Canadians and their employers to contribute a specified amount every year, and the negotiations over the CPP marked a turning point in the federal-provincial relations because it became one of the first examples of cooperative federalism, which means a system in which the federal, provincial, and municipal governments work collaboratively.
Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas, for coming here today, and we are so glad to see you. Thanks to everyone who watched the show, and stay tuned for the next interview.